the second episode in this marathon support series. This episode is going to be focused on your warm-up. Now, the warm-up for a longer distance run will look different to the warm-up that you might do for any other sports. Long distance running, as taken as a single session, doesn't necessarily have a particularly high rate of injury occurring in that one session. So our focus on our warm-up should be quite different. I love to use a warm-up to add in rehabilitation exercises for people. So if you've been identified as having range of motion deficits around particular joints or a slightly underactive muscle group, this is a great time to really focus on those areas, and it's a dedicated time that you know that you're going to do each week, so it's a really good time to focus on those particular areas. Really though, our purpose for the individual session is that we want to get better range around all of our joints, particularly ankle, through knee and through hip. That running motion requires that triple flexion, powering off into that triple extension. So we want to get good range going through all of those three joints. We need the muscles to be supporting those three joints and the key muscle groups to be active. So getting the mobilization, the mobility around those joints and getting the activity in the muscle groups in and around those joints is key. The big thing that you'll get from this is better performance, a more efficient running stride, and by working on all of those areas, you know that you're going to gradually just improve your range and improve your activity around those areas. So what I'm going to start off, I'm going to do a set of exercises that you can follow along with. A warm-up should ideally take from 5 to 10 minutes before you go out for a run. Perhaps you might go for a little run first, then do this. But it should be setting aside kind of 5 to 10 minutes of doing these exercises. So I'm going to start in a lunge position here, and we're looking at just back and forth with the ankle so that we start to mobilise and get that ankle moving. Hearing the clicks in my ankle, I can run to the sound of the clicking of my ankles. Generally, in most people, it doesn't need a huge amount of switching legs. Just really pressing that heel down and then pushing up. Really getting the mobility through your big toe, pushing that down, going through there. We're going to switch back and do a couple of the same. But this time, as we push back, we're just going to go forward into a bit of a hamstring stretch. There. All of our stretches and our movement throughout our warm-up should be mobile. Keep moving, not holding positions. Good, switch legs. The mobility through that foot and that ankle, that big toe, and lean and just take it into a hamstring stretch position. Pushing up with the ankle, little calf raise, down into that stretch. Switching back, I'm going to take it down into a lunge and back up. Progressively looking at taking that knee to the floor. Keeping the chest up. Switch legs. Drop that knee down. So we've got good range going through ankle, big toe. Switching again, so we're going to go down into a lunge this time, up into, I call it a dipping bird. Just to encourage a bit of activation around that balancing leg. Activate that glute to take the leg out of that. Couple more. There, switch legs. Down into that lunge. Up, get that balance. You should feel a draw through the back of the leg. Go down and go one more. Good, you can come into more of a squat position. Just gently take it across to one side, back up. Squeeze those glutes at the top. Back down, squeeze glutes. Drawing down, take the range progressively further. let you go. Squeeze at the top. And again, if you're indoors or the ground's okay, and you can take that a little bit further, just rotate the foot, opening out the hip. Squeeze. Get down to the floor. Rotate the foot, opening out the hip. One more on each side. Bring that down. That's good. Okay, we're going to look at that hip mobility a little bit more. So I'm going to come across, we're going to draw up, take the hip out, take the leg behind. We can draw up, take the leg out, and draw up behind. I'll come towards you, draw up. So there's a lot to expect of this standing leg. Start challenged in the control, out, take it a bit out the back. So just activating that glute. We're really getting a bit more mobility through the hip. One more on each leg. The leg up, draw that up, out to the side, and gently out the back. Lift leg, take up, and gently out the back. Okay, just going to tackle a little bit more on the glutes. I'm sure as a runner you've been told a lot about the glutes at different times. It's really great to ensure that we get some really good activity through the glutes. If you have a band, then great. Obviously, if you're out on your run doing this, then you may not. But a band is really great just to add a little bit more activation through those glutes. So we're going to hold that squat position and just look at a rotation up. So you're just holding through and a rotation round. Take some side steps. Keeping those knees pressed out against the band. Should feel a little bit of a burn. We don't want our warm up to be a workout, but we really want to feel those muscles working before we go. Take a deep and a rotation. And a deep there. And a rotation. Looking at control through abdominals in order to create that rotation. Last one. Holding deep down into that squat. Rotate through and rotate through. Okay, the last part of your warm-up should always involve some form of control. So a little bit of power getting in there. Remember I've spoken about that triple flexion to that triple extended position. And we want the muscles to be firing quickly and be able to create that motion in a fast manner. So we're going to look out back into the lunge. Drive up from the lunge. Hold, challenge your control. Back into the lunge. Drive up. Hold that control. Drive up. Hold that control. One more on this leg. Hold that control. I'm going to turn and face you to switch legs. So we're dropping down into that lunge. You should be able to go deeper into that lunge now. Drive up. Hold that control. And hold. And last one. Driving out and hold. So you're really looking to be able to hold, get some control through that leg. This is a really good opportunity as well for you to start seeing if you've got any asymmetries. Asymmetries are quite normal, but if there is an asymmetry you think is based on a previous injury, it may well highlight to you how much power you're lacking from one side to the other and may need addressing and restoring. I'm ready for my run. I hope that was helpful. Always here if you have any questions at all. There are various different exercises you can put into your warm-up. That was just a snapshot. I hope you can join me for episode 3. Episode 3 will look at recovery strategies. So as you start to get into your running pattern and your schedule, and you start increasing the miles, your ability to recover from each of those sessions becomes even more important. So I hope training's going really well so far, and I look forward to seeing you in episode 3.